regular meeting of the City of Aransas Pass City Council, June 20th, 22 at 5:30 p.m. Let's all rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, Father, for your goodness, for your mercies, and for your love. I pray, Lord, that you guide us, my Father, provide to us as City Council on what steps to take to keep Aransas Pass moving forward. I pray, Lord, that you be with us and with our community. You know the needs that exist within our communities, my Father. I pray that you give us the guidance to be able to fulfill those needs. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First of all, we're going to go to presentations and proclamations, which is a demolition update by Ms. Roxanne.
I love her dress.
Good evening. My name is Roxanne Paez-Cotroneo, and I am the city attorney for the city of Aransas Pass. When I was hired a few years ago, one of the most important things for the city council was to make sure that we were able to demolish any dilapidated structures that were unfit for human occupancy and public health and safety. For the past couple of years, we certainly have been giving you repeated updates on our progress. And as so much has happened, even over the past couple of years, I realized, gosh, it's almost been a year since we gave you an update on our demolition progress. So we certainly need to do that again, and that's the purpose of tonight's presentation. So you will see on the slideshow that this is actually activity that the demolition team has made from June 23rd, 2021 to today, the 20th. Now, I will tell you there have been so many more properties we've demolished, right? But we're going to focus in just on this narrow period for you, and we'll go ahead and change the slide. So we've actually had 36 demolitions in that time period, and that makes it a total of 216 since the demolition team was formed. Of course, you know your demolition team is formed of your city attorney. It has your building official, your permit tech, and your 2 code enforcement officers. We do meet every Monday when I come into town. Not every Monday, every 2 weeks, right? So we meet the city council meeting dates. So like this afternoon, I met with them and we go through the docket and we speak to property owners. In fact, the city council, when we first began deciding how are we going to organize these structures, we went ahead and decided, well, we're going to just organize them in terms of what are black structures and what are gray structures, and just a random colors. The black structure were structures that we knew were dilapidated, substandard. They needed to immediately come down. Anybody who actually saw the structures would agree, yes, they need to come down. The gray structures were structures where if you put some money into it, depending on how much money you want to do, you could probably repair it, right? So that's the way we kind of divided these properties up. And so if you'll go on to the next slide, we'll talk about the methods that the city council put in their toolbox to address both the gray structures and the black structures. Your city attorney, of course, was ready to file a civil lawsuit, and you said, no, slow down. Let's actually meet and greet these property owners and find out what the issues are and how we, if any, can help them. So we have done that, and we have done that with the majority of all these 216 cases that have been demolished. Property owners themselves have been demolishing, but with assistance or help from us for whatever legal directions they might need. On occasion, we would have to issue citations for these people to understand how serious we were in moving forward. And even yet, there are some properties where we cannot find the property owners, or they are insistently ignoring us, and so we would have to take cases to the Building and Standards Commission for review. We have had to take some cases to the Building and Standards Commission, and I want to thank our Building and Standards Commissioners. Our commissioners have worked very hard on a few properties that you'll see here tonight, and if we'll turn the page, we actually had 4 structures that went to the Building Standards and Appeals Board. I want to thank our chairman, Mike Moore, our vice chairman, Rocky Kilgore, Greg Farrar, Dan Moore, and Commissioner Myron Schroeder. They spent a significant time helping us with those cases, and we'll take a look at them in just a few minutes. As far as the demos team's concerned, there were actually 16 cases that we had to put a significant amount of time to, and 20 that were just real quick voluntary demolitions. We also have 6 structures during this time period by which we have been working on for repairs. So some of those repairs have been completed and some are in progress. And if we turn the page, I want to start talking to you about those black structures, and we'll take a look at our first structure, which is the South 13th Street. Woo, we were excited about this one. Look at this. This is actually right next to what looks like a brand new home. Do you see that? So you can imagine the urgency we wanted to make sure that we got this down and spur that growth. This one only took us 2 months to get down, so we were real excited about that one. But believe it or not, we have one that beats it. So let's go on to the next page, 157 North Arch. This is what I call a 3-in-1. There were actually 3 buildings on one property, and this is the first building on that property that was demolished. If you go to the next one, you'll see the second building on that property that was demolished. And then there's the third on 157 North Arch that was demolished. Can't wait to see new buildings on there. Let's go on to 807 Bay. This was a property that did catch on fire, a beautiful home. It took a while for the property owners to demolish this one. It took about 8 months, and there was a delay in it because there was an investigation involving the cause of the fire for insurance purposes. So that one's down. Can't wait to see a beautiful new home on that one. Moving on to 2659 Business Highway 35. This is actually right next to the Fairfield Inn Hotel. Didn't that look so much better?
Yes.
Yeah, much better. Right behind the Lowe's, but very visible from the entrance of one of the main entrances in our city. Taking a look at 1414 Highway 35, bipolar. Mr. Bruce DePuma, it was a long history with him, but it finally came down, and the amount of money that it took was 6 digits to get that one down by him. He certainly paid for that. So much better looking though, right? Everybody knows that bipolar insulation. How about 264 North Houston? This was a AEP electrical wire fire. So AEP's wires came tumbling down, and they started that structure on fire. You see where the big hole's at? The property owner was insistent that she was going to sue AEP. I'm not quite sure what happened between those two, but the structure did get demolished, so good news there. Let's go on to 745 North Houston. This actually was a vacation home for 2 best friends who loved to fish, and unfortunately it got caught on fire, so we were able to get them to demolish it. They never just repaired it after Hurricane Harvey, quite honestly. That's what happened. A hurricane really injured the structure, and then it caught on fire, and so they just took it down. 221 South Houston. This took one phone call from the demo team, and it came down. And it looks like there's a for sale sign back there on the after picture, and that's kind of what we see that happens once we get these bad structures down. You start to see the seeding of this growth and development and selling and the nurturing and valuing of our properties. Let's go on to 305 North Lamont. This was a property owner who insisted that the home could be remodeled. And the demo team continually warned him, we don't believe so. And he was insistent it could be remodeled. So unfortunately, when he was remodeling, he'd pick up one side of the house and the other side would fall. Then he'd go and pick up the other side of the house and another section of the house would fall. And so after even investing a few thousand, he decided, you're right, it just needs to be demolished, and it's been demolished. 643 North Mccampbell. This is actually a tax foreclosure property. We worked it from that angle. We actually got permission from all the taxing entities, and the city did demolish it, and so it's up and ready for a new build. 560 North Rife. I'm going to call this a family affair. This was a house that was left to the children of the property owner. The children actually came down every weekend and would demolish it themselves. So it was a family event that happened every weekend for about 5 months, but they were able to get it down. And I think that they are looking to sell it so that someone can build a new home to remind them of their family events there. 1126 North Mccampbell. This was also a quick demo. This was a property owner who actually is not in town very much. He works a lot out of state. When we finally did get a hold of him, he did demolish the structure rather fast. Unfortunately, there is a pile of debris that remains on the property, and he got into a motorcycle accident, so he has not been able to remove that pile yet. We are working with him to try to see if the city is going to abate it, and if we'll abate it, then he'll pay for it as opposed to placing the lien on the property. But that's where we are at this point. The BBSA handled, of course, those 4 famous structures on the corner of Commercial and Wheeler. This is 106 West Wheeler. Everyone in town knows it as the tattoo shop. If we'll take a look at the next slide, you'll recognize this as Aransas glass. And in the third slide, you'll see the upholstery shop. And then on the last slide, it's actually residential. So we, the demo team, had been working on this property for at least 2.5 years. And the property owner was consistently ignoring us, would not address us, would not contact us, would not work with us. I mean, was just a flat out gone. And so we used every resource as possible to try to get a hold of this property owner to work with them. When he was non-responsive for 2.5 years, we decided it's time to prepare these cases where we get non-responsive and to send them to the Board of Billing and Standards and Appeals as the Texas local government authorizes us to do. So there was a significant amount of work that went on by the demo staff, and then a significant amount of time placed by the Billing and Board Standards of Appeals to listen to the case. And once we listened to the case and had hearings, there was about 2 or 3 hearings that we had on each property, we finally got an order to demolish all the structures. And in posting that order, the property owner finally came forward and said, okay, I know you're serious now. I do not want the city to file a lien on my property. And so it cost a little more than $40,000 to demolish all 4 of those structures. The city did not have to pay for any demolitions. The property owner paid for with their own money. So even though the demo team and the building board had to go through so much work, the property owner is the one who paid for the demolitions, and we oversaw to make sure that they were clean and finalized according to the board's order. That one seemed to make a really big difference in the community, and I think a lot of people are very happy that that's gone. It certainly has made an entrance to our downtown area much better. Yes. 2002 West Wheeler. This was a 3-day demo, just 3 days. That's all it took. We notified the property in 3 days. It was down. Moving on to 657 South Whitney. This, too, was another family affair. The father was the property owner and was disabled and unable to handle the demolition, and so the children came down and did it themselves as well. A lot of families working together on the properties this past year. So we do find that it's a lot of the parents who owned it and are old or elderly, and then the children come together and do something to make it better for the community. Now let's move on real quickly to the gray structures. And the gray structures, like I said, are the ones where you can repair it if you put enough money into it. So let's take a look at one of our first ones. This is 251 South 9th. This has come to you before, but it came to you while it was still in progress. It has now been completed. This was a property, it's hard to tell, but it didn't even really, it had like blue piling material on as a roof from Hurricane Harvey damage. And the couple that lived in it were divorcing, and as they divorced, they finally decided it was best to sell the home, and so the home was sold to a realtor, and the realtor remodeled it for her daughter, and so there's the completed phase of it. Nice job. 1010 South 11. This is actually another family affair. So the father and the son-in-law are actually rebuilding this home. It is taking a little bit longer. I am hearing from property owners that are repairing that supplies are low. I don't know if that's for real, if they really are, but I am being told that through 2 or 3 different properties that we're working on. Going on to 205 South Commercial. So Hong Kong repaired the outside by painting it. They did put on a new roof. the prior building official had said that it was a strong structure that did not need to be demolished. There were some storage facilities in the back that were demolished, but other than that, at this point, it's a closed structure for us, and we're not doing anything else in it except to continue to monitor. Hopefully it will sell. I've seen the big sale sign, realtor signs out there recently, so hopefully that will get sold soon. 844 South Rive. They have been working on the inside. You can see all the new plywood going in to try to rebuild the interior of the structure. They too have said that it's hard to get some supplies, but they are making progress. If we move on to 429 South Saunders, now I thought this one was totally impossible. I used to call it the basketball court house because there used to be a basketball court. This was actually owned by, it was a mortgage foreclosure, and it kept getting sold as an investment property to different bond people who'd purchase it. We finally caught up with the recent one who had it and said, listen, this property's in really bad shape. You're not going to be able to do anything with it. They said, well, we'll get back with you. And sure enough, some guy bought it. And I thought, how is he going to be able to fix that? Well, he has. And we just recently found out that he must have had a very good motivation to help fix it. He's not done with it, but he has done some substantial work. There's so much new material that has gone into that home over the past year. And he's getting married right now and on his honeymoon. So we look forward to how much closer he has towards completion when we talk to him again in a couple of weeks. We decided to give him a break today because he was getting married. All right, so what's next? There's still so many more structures left. We get people complaining about them. We certainly know what structures are out there, and we want them down just as fast as you do. However, we do have constitutional protections that we need to make sure are in place. We do not want to deprive people of their property without due process of law. And so as we look at 253 South 8th, we cannot get a hold of the property owner, so there is going to have to be a BBSA case, or it's going to have to go to a civil lawsuit. But you'll see that entire wall just kind of bowing in. We're also working on 144th South Houston. Now, this is actually a property owner we've been able, you can change the slide. 144 South Houston. This is actually a property owner that we have been able to contact and communicate with. And he says that he and his wife purchased that structure for historical value. Apparently it was known as a mansion. Somebody famous in the area. I can't remember the exact name. He wants to historically restore it. It's not a historically designated home, but he wants to try to bring it back to its original condition. The former building official didn't think it was going to be cost-worthy. He thought it would cost a lot more to try to restore it than it would have been just to completely rebuild brand new. But people do have historical value and reasoning. And so we are still in the process of working with that property owner. The last we had was an engineering firm was doing an analysis on the cost to restabilize the property. We'll come back to you when we know more on it. The other structures that we know are definitely going to have to be prepared for the building board standards and review to actually begin reviewing and issuing orders are the following properties. This one's bad. They're all bad. I'm actually at the next ones. Let's take a look at 332 South 12th. Can't find anybody on it. This property is obviously really bad on one side, but if you actually saw it on the other side, you would be a little scared and shocked too. If the property falls, it's going to directly fall on the neighboring property. We are preparing the case for BBSA. We did have some timeline problems because we're getting the hiring of the new building official and getting new people on board to be able to start to work those cases. So we should hopefully have some hearings coming up very soon to deal with that. You'll also recognize this one, 503 South 10th. This one is horrible. This is across the street from a school, and nobody wants this down faster than I. What is happening with this property is it's being flipped. Every single time we're able to find who owns it, it's investment companies, where they purchase these huge packages of land and they just sell them, and then they resell them, and they resell them to over and over and over again. So by the time we get our title or the tax records are updated to reflect who the new owner, it's already flipped another 3 or 4 times. Does that make sense? That's why it's been very difficult to find who owns it at the time we're actually trying to get notice to them. So that's been the issue with 503 South 10th, but we are still working and we need to get it down, and we know it. 1030 North Houston. The last thing we knew was this was an elder lady who died and apparently has no heirs. So aren't those horrible? So much worse than so many other structures we have that people complain about, and we have to get those down. 302 North Saunders. And 845 North Avenue A. This is actually a lady who we have made contact with. She says she cannot afford to demolish it. She cannot afford to make any payments to pay for the demolition. We have tried to get her into contact with GLO and others who might be able to provide her housing. They say she's not eligible. She doesn't meet the requirements. And so she does not live there. So that's where we are with that property, and we're trying to figure out what's our next step. We certainly, I believe, have to deal with the other ones much more quicker than this one, because this one at least has a little bit of land around it. The other ones are much closer to important places in our city. So we will keep moving in the right direction, but 216 isn't bad at all. Thank you, commissioners and from the BBSA, and thank you, council members, for allowing us to do this work. We will continue to do it, and we want to thank the citizens and the property owners who, after talking to us and meeting with us, used their own money to do what they knew was right. And the city hasn't had to have spent a dime really on these demolitions, except for the property that it owns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Great job.
Roxanne.
Now we're gonna go to the consent agenda. All of the following items of the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion of this item unless a council member so requests. If the discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
I make a motion to accept the consent agendas for April 25th and May 16th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mary, I will have to abstain from the 425 meeting. I was absent.
And I'm pretty sure I was out on May 16th.
Okay, now I'm gonna go to public hearings, and I'm gonna open up public hearing on case number 2206-13- Jesus Hinojosa. Public hearing on request for a conditional use permit renewal by Jesus Hinojosa to allow for a 1-year continuation of temporary dwelling and an RV on this property at 345 North Atlantic Street, B and Block 683, lots 5 and 6 in Aransas Pass, Texas, while alternate living arrangements can be secured. Property is currently zoned AG, which is agricultural.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This application has come before you several times, and currently, to bring you up to speed on it, it was heard at the Planning and Zoning Commission last week. There was an extensive deliberations on the issue as to the situation with his property, living on that property, and the alternative means to get him another place to live, because it is not conducive to live on that property, in that RV. So at the meeting, it came up that we informed them of the update as to where we've gotten to with Habitat for Humanity. They said they did a review on his income, and he did not qualify to meet the minimum income requirement to get him a house, a new house built. So we are now looking at alternatives with other agencies and how they can, if any, they can help him with his income level so that he can qualify. As at this time, Habitat is full with their construction projects, so they cannot take his project, even if we get an agency that can help him with his finances to come up with that income level. So we are hoping that we look at alternatives. We've been talking to Mr. Hinojosa, he's here, about Mr. Tako, who is also the chair for housing development, offered that he can get him a place, one of the apartments, but Mr. Hinojosa is not comfortable with that because he has pets and he thinks that will not be conducive for him to live there. So we are currently going to concentrate on his income level and see how best we can get him a place. So the application before you now is to request 1 more year extension for him to live on the property until we get a meaningful solution. And that is what is before you today. Thank you.
Would he be accepting selling his property so he would have income to purchase perhaps another trailer? Because if I remember correctly, the trailer he lives in is a FEMA trailer.
Yeah.
Okay, and it isn't hooked up to sewer.
No. The sewer
There's
issues.
several issues
Right,
with this
Look,
parcel
yeah.
right there.
Mhm.
Chief, do we know if code enforcement has been there? Because it was a problem at the beginning. Code enforcement had to go out there and the property had to be cleaned up, and I don't know if they followed up or anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know? if-
Yeah, there has been a cleanup,
Okay.
very significantly.
Okay, well, I
Yeah,
know at the
so-
beginning there was, but I
Right.
didn't know where it was now.
Yeah, continuously, he knows what he has to do to keep up the place, so it's
Okay.
okay.
Would you be willing to sell the property so that you can
Come
move
forward, sir.
someplace where you would be comfortable and have facilities that would have running water and septic and be able to have your dogs?
Yeah, first I have to check it out. You know, I cannot just imagine it.
Well, I understand that, but, you know, if somebody came along to offer you the money so that you could have money to resettle, that would be
Yeah, well,
beneficial to
yeah.
you.
Yeah, it depends on the amount, you know, because right now everything is expensive.
Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
right. Are the taxes up to date on that property?
Huh?
Are your taxes up to date on that property? And I know
Yes,
they're
everything is paid.
agricultural, which I don't understand how that property is still agricultural, but I'm not going there with that, so, you know,
Yeah, everything's paid up.
yeah.
Taxes.
But you don't have any
Permits.
agriculture there.
Agriculture, I don't know. Well, I understand that what agriculture is, but it's not agriculture, it's industrial area. Because right next to, right almost in front of my house, I mean, or the trailer, whatever you wanna call it, there'd be an oil well, and it was there for, I don't know, maybe about 3 years. Right, pretty close, and there was another noise on the motor, you know, pump the oil out. And, well, I had to put out with it, right, and I didn't make any complaints. But other than that, before they built that, an inspector went over there and told me that they wanted everybody out of there because of the flooding, right? Right now, everywhere in the world is flooding. Nobody gets away. Nobody
Right.
gets safe.
Right.
So after that, the inspector went there. A little later, they built that oil rig there, and there were trucks coming in and out. Not every day, but
Right.
so it's more like an industrial area.
Yeah, but
I
your
think there
property
can be
is-
there can be a refinery there also.
Yeah, but your property is zoned agricultural. Your
Yeah,
property is
that's-
zoned agricultural, so you're paying just a minimum amount of taxes because of the agricultural, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm paying.
Yep, what you can afford, exactly.
Yeah,
So-
in a way, yes.
Yeah.
But other people pay a lot more.
Yeah,
$800.
absolutely.
But
Okay.
they got houses, right? They got
But if-
house and everything.
If you could find somebody, maybe to, Melinda, your city, find somebody that could buy just land that could just sit on it. Because he's right now, nothing can be built out there and stuff like that. Maybe we could help him out to get himself into a better property with his animals and stuff. Okay, super. Okay. Okay.
Mr. Aransas, I'm Melinda Williams, and I'm the city's realtor, and I also live here in Aransas Pass, and my office is in Aransas. If you feel to give me a call on that number, and we can discuss your options.
Okay, anytime this week?
Go ahead and give me a call, by appointment, I wanna make sure I have a
Oh,
good time
okay.
for you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I declare the public hearing closed, and we're gonna go to consider an act on ordinance approving renewal of a conditional use permit to Jesus Hinojosa to allow for a one-year continuation of temporary dwelling in an RV on this property at 345 North Atlantic Street, being block 683, lots 5 and 6 in Aransas Pass, Texas, while alternative living arrangements can be secured. Property is currently zoned AG.
I wouldn't be comfortable with a 1 year, but I would go for a 6 month. And then let's review it again in 6 months. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
Okay, I mean, 1 year.
I will make a motion.
Well, I'll go with the whole year. Year's fine.
Do it for a year.
I say a year.
Right here now. Only because knowing the situation.
Yeah.
That's why I said 6 months.
I move to.
Go ahead.
Okay, I move to approve the renewal of a conditional use permit for Jesus Hinojosa to allow for a 1-year continuation of temporary dwelling in an RV on his property at 345 North Atlantic Street, being block 683, lots 5 and 6 in Aransas Pass, Texas, while alternate living arrangements can be secured. Property is currently zoned agricultural district.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
No?
Yes. Now we're gonna go to the city manager, with a statement from city manager on initiating stage 1 drought restrictions.
Mr. Mayor and Council, everything I'm about to say is on the webpage. If you want to go to the webpage, or if anybody wants to go to the webpage and access this information. As you know, we're in a drought right now, and we issued a news release on Friday concerning the drought. We get our water from the San Patricio County Water District. The Water District gets their water. Ours is processed at the district, and the district gets raw water from Corpus Christi, and we're obligated by contract to impose any restrictions that the other two do during a drought. And that's what we did on Friday. Now, it's a phase 1, level 1, whatever you want to call it, which is the lowest level and the least severe of all the different levels. So we'll see how the drought continues. But all the different things you can and can't do, they're listed on the webpage. We could go into details, but they're there if anybody wants to see it. And as I indicated, we have put out a release on this. In fact, all the entities at the Corpus level and the Water District level have put out releases also, so this word has gotten out. Any questions you might have at this point, Mayor and Council?
I would ask if there's a way that we can send out this press release in the water bill, because not everyone has access to the web.
Okay. I think we can do that, yes.
What
Yes.
I mean-
Even a reverse 911, because the newsletter won't come out until July, and it's the 20th.
Okay.
Well, the water bill will come
The
out
water
though.
bill.
Will
Yeah,
go out
I-
pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, because not everyone has access to the internet or the web, so to be able, I don't want someone to be fined if they're watering and they're not supposed to, or doing
agree.
whatever they're not supposed to do, because they haven't received that.
We'll also look at the reverse 911 and see if that's a possibility, but yes,
Yeah.
to answer your question, we can do that as far as the water bills go. So we'll
Good.
proceed in that direction, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay, now we're gonna go to Development Services, which is consider an act to approve the issuance of request for proposal for the restroom concession stand, for the Little League.
Hello, Mayor Council. These are basically just RFPs. We're just trying to get authorization to take the first step and at least get some direction from the Mayor and Council on some of these items. So we have quite a few items in a row, but this is for the city. The city of Aransas Pass received funding from the MDD Board of Parks and Improvement Project. One item was to construct a new concession stand to replace the old building in the Little League.
So this is this is for just to go out to construct a new building, or looking at options, or what's this?
He is looking
for?
for proposals.
RFP.
Yeah, and also keep in mind that as the mayor and council, you have the authority to reject any and all bids, whatever comes in. So right now, all we're asking for authorization to take the first step.
Okay, I have a question on this. I don't know if this is out of line, or, I know in the last meeting that we had where we discussed this, one of the discussion items was to look at the fields. Has any work study been done on the actual fields besides just the concession stand?
No, I have not looked at the fields. I know there's quite a bit of dirt and red dirt stockpiled outside the fields that have not been utilized. I have walked one of the fields. It does seem very rough, that it's very fixable, in my opinion, but I have not assessed every single field yet.
Okay, because that's one of the things that I think that the council was, wanting to get the fields worked on, not only necessarily just the Little League field, but also the softball fields.
Yes.
And this was, what I understood, this money was gonna be used for that also, that we got from the MDD, not only for the construction, but to repair the fields. I know they went out and spread some dirt and did some things on, and they thought it worked well, and I just want to make sure that that's taken care of before we consider anything else. I just want to make sure on that.
If you look between the dog park and the softball fields, you'll see piles of dirt that have not been utilized that is still good, that can be used on the fields.
This is just a
So-
start, and we're gonna head on to that direction to be able to accomplish all three jobs.
But I just want to make sure that, but you're telling me that study has not been done. Are we looking at doing that? It's just my question, just a question.
No studies have been done at all. Right now, we're just requesting
Okay.
proposals right now.
I make a motion to approve the issuance of a request for proposal for the restroom concession stand at the Aransas Pass Little League fields.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act to approve the issuance of request for proposal for a prefabricated 80 by 160 pavilion building and slab for the basketball courts.
We are taking a different approach on the basketball court. We're looking at going out for RFPs to see if we can get a supplier that can do the prefabricated buildings. They come with their own engineers. They'll meet windstorm according to our town. And so basically, we're getting the puzzle pieces handed to us. So once we get that, then the next step would be to actually go to RFP to get a contractor that actually put the slab and the puzzle pieces together. So this is basically just to get prices on material and the prefabricated metal.
Because I have a problem with this.
Mhm.
If, I know we've got a certain amount of dollar amount that we receive from the MDD board. I want to make sure our Little League fields are taken first, and then consider this. Because I expressed my opinion the last time. We have no basketball league. This is something that we're going to look at starting. Little League is already out there, the fields, both fields already have their, someone is using those, and this is just my concern.
Good.
If we have no funds, I don't want us to push one and not the other without Little League being considered first.
Okay, at this point right now, we're just going out for RFQ to be able to
No
see if we,
RFP.
or whatever it is, to be able to accomplish the 3 jobs that we got the money for. It's just a start of it. That's all it is.
Well, I think there has to be an open conversation
Yeah.
too, so.
Basically, my approach right here is gonna be is I'm gonna lay all the cards on the table. This is how much A costs, B costs, and C costs, and then that's when the discussions can be
Yeah.
open and choose what priority. But I mean, that was just my approach on this one.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve the issuance of an RFP for a prefabricated 80 by 160 pavilion building and slab for the basketball courts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Deny. Nay.
Aye. Yes.
I still think we need a.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act to approval the issuance of request for proposal to construct a prefabricated 80 by 60 pavilion building.
So this is be the second part of the basketball. Basically, we're getting the puzzle pieces, so this would be an RFP to get somebody to actually pour the slab and put the puzzle pieces together.
We're just going up for prices now.
Make a motion to approve the issuance of a request for proposals to construct a prefabricated 80 by 160 pavilion building.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Now we're gonna go to consider an act to approve the issuance of request for proposals for boring of the water and wastewater line under the bay.
So basically, there's a whole paragraph on here, but basically, there's a 6-inch water line and an 8-inch wastewater line that goes from the Goodnight Ditch across, I believe it's Redfish Bay, is that correct?
Yes.
And so basically, this project is just so we can get it underneath the bay. It'll do a couple things. Of course, it'll make it more aesthetically pleasing when we remove the pipes out of the way, that way it could be open area, but at the same time, it is failing and it could fail at any moment, so that's what this is for.
I make a motion to approve the issuance of an RFP for boring of the water and wastewater line under the bay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to consider an act to approve the issuance of request for proposal for the American Rescue Plan Project Package Number 1 for water and sewer services in the alley between South 9th Street and South 10th Street from DeBerry to Goodnight.
And this is a project from the American Rescue Plan. Basically, it's to extend water and wastewater services to citizens that don't have access to it at the moment. Project Package 1 would extend water and sewer in the alleys between 9th and 10th Street, stretching from DeBerry to Goodnight. The project would consist of 2,300 linear feet of 6-inch water main and almost 1,000 feet of 8-inch wastewater. Currently, also part of the American Rescue Plan, Jeff and the wastewater guys are actually installing a water line in between 11th and 12th Street on McClung, so that's also part of this as well. So we do have a little piece we're doing in-house that was done, that was agreed upon before I came on board, but just so you know, that's part of this plan.
Okay. Well, I make a motion that we approve the issuance of requests for proposals for the American Rescue Plan Project Number 1 for water and sewer services in the alley between South 9th and South 10th Streets from DeBerry to Goodnight.
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're going to consider an act on the issuance of request for proposal for the blower unit at the wastewater treatment plant.
On my presentation on Friday, I had mentioned about a couple of steps. Well, this is towards the end. We have a storage tank that we're trying to use as a digester, but it's not a digester. It's basically just stores waste, and we're just hoping that the sediments go down. Well, what I'm proposing is to go RFP to get a blower so we can make it into an aerobic digester, so that we can actually be a little bit more efficient. So that's what this is for, because more likely it's going to exceed our procurement limit, so that's why I'm bringing it to council. So basically, this is just to purchase a blower unit that we will install ourselves.
Now, what was this? The blower unit, what is, can you
Sure,
refresh my
it
mind?
just blows oxygen into the waste to make it aerobic. So with a little, kind of ugly talking, but all the bugs kind of stay alive and the bugs kind of do what they need to do to get the solid waste down to the bottom.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
I make a motion to act on the issuance of an RFP for the blower unit at the wastewater treatment plant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Consider an act on approving change order number 1 to the contract with Aransas Parker Construction LLC for the CDBG DR Hurricane Harvey Recovery Drainage Improvement in the amount of $330,580.
One thing I want to stress off in the beginning, this change order is not going to cost the city a dime. This is actually going to be funded through the grant. But basically, there was a 42-inch stormwater pipe that we're going to slip line. We're basically going to slip a new line underneath and just utilize it as a casing, but it's actually too damaged. So now we have to go to Plan B, which is actually excavate that pipe out and install a new pipe. So that's what that change order is for.
And where is this project at?
This is on the between Stapp and McCampbell drainage.
Is this something we requested as far as the actual work?
No, it's to the point where we didn't have a choice. We didn't request, hey, we want a change order. When the contractor was going to begin the project, they realized the pipe was damaged. We weren't able to do what Plan A was.
Yeah, I'm trying to point out that that's something that we do have no choice.
Yes, we don't have a choice in this.
And so we're asking them to move forward with it if with council approval.
Yes, correct.
I move to approve change order.
Number one.
I move to approve change order number 1 to the contract with R.S. Parker Construction LLC for the CDBG-DR Hurricane Harvey Recovery Drainage Improvements in the amount of $330,580.00.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And David, in the future jobs that I know you just got here, but the future jobs, anyone like this, can you really look at them and make sure this doesn't happen on the change orders anymore?
Yes.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I will make an effort on that. Yes.
Appreciate it. Thank you,
Yes.
sir. So now we're gonna go to consider an act approving change order number 2 to the contract with the Gurkey Excavation for the DeBerry Saunders and Greenwood Drainage Project in the amount of $78,574.02.
And again, I want to stress out, this is not going to cost the tax dollars dime. This is going to be funded through the grant, this change order. So basically, as they were running pipe, they realized that the pipe that goes into the starter ditch had some failure in it. So that's what the 128 feet was, to replace that pipe. That was not included, but there was some visible failure to that.
We know the answer to it, but has the granting agency, are they okay? with
Yes, they
this?
are. Yeah,
It's an
this
important point.
yeah, this goes through quite a bit of red tape. It's not something that we just say, hey, we want it. The grant works has to go and process it. They have to look at themselves, and they have to approve it before they give it to us to bring to you, to the mayor and council to approve. So there's quite a bit of steps in between before bringing it to you.
You're right, okay.
Well, then I make a motion that we approve change order number 2 to the contract with Gurkey Excavating for the DeBerry, Saunders, and Greenwood Drainage Project in the amount of $78,574.02.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to staff report on conditional use permit on Richard Titus at 624 South Wright.
Yes, so this is another conditional use permit that you requested a progress report on it. So it was approved in February, and we want to give you an update. Applicant currently has not started construction. The only thing he's done is the front of the property with some landscape over there. He's mentioned that he's still working with his engineer to get the technicalities resolved before they can start. But he has assured us that he will start before the beginning of July. And so these are pictures of the site. He still lives in the RV / manufactured home structure. There hasn't been any change as of the last time code enforcement went to inspect the property. Any other questions?
And he wants a one-year renewal.
Yeah,
Yet nothing has happened.
It's not, yeah, it was approved, but you need a progress report. So,
Right.
it will expire in February next year.
Okay.
But as of this time, he has not started the project yet.
Is-
Okay.
Just
Is it
wanted-
because of the engineer that he hasn't started, or what's the reason why?
Yeah, I guess it's not about the funds, but his engineer, they need some technicalities to be hashed out with the design and construction process, so that's what he said, but
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Now we're gonna go to public safety, which is consider an act on approving the city manager to sign a resolution accepting the issuance of award auto theft grant funds from the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority in the amount not to exceed $20,000.
Mayor, council, this is a great piece of technology equipment that is going to be mostly funded by the grant of $20,000. I think the matching funds from the PD would be $4,000, and that'll come out of our seizure funds if approved. What this equipment does is read license plates. We're going to have 2 locations of high traffic areas where this equipment is based. In the statewide data system as stolen. If that car passes through those intersections, it'll alert us immediately. And that's just one of the many great uses. I believe it can also be used for like amber and silver alerts. Great piece of technology and over my head, but somehow it's going to interface with our new car cameras, if I understand right. So we will have a really large coverage once that takes place.
That's excellent.
Just have a question. Any vehicle that is being hauled off?
Any license plates that it gets a look at.
Okay, so for instance, it's, my question is, does the police department look at vehicles that are being on the back of a?
We won't actually look at anything. It will notify us if it hits.
Oh, okay, but currently they don't look at if the vehicles being, the reason why is my husband's truck was stolen, so I'm just kind of wondering if,
Yeah, it
if
would
somebody,
take
if the
this-
officers saw it going by, were they gonna say, oh, there's a nice truck going by there? Or are they going to look at the license plate, or do they look at license plates now, like that?
Always.
Oh, okay, just wanted to
When
make
they
sure.
can.
We're still looking for it. It's just a question.
Will I make a motion that we approve the city manager to sign a resolution accepting the issuance of award auto theft grant funds from the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority in an amount not to exceed $20,000?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we're gonna go to city council or staff announcement for the workshop meeting, June 27, 22, and I'm not gonna be here.
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about, actually. One of the things I want to talk about. We have this work session with these agenda items on it, and there is a meeting that the mayor and I both have to attend in Austin. Mayor, I think the meeting's at 1 o'clock. So I think it may, and we're anticipating that it will last 1 hour. So I think it may be possible, and I've asked the city secretary if we could move the meeting back to 6 o'clock instead of 5:30, so that we could come back for that meeting.
So we're gonna drive 95 miles an hour back or what?
Just like normal.
You'll have to take the Mercedes on that trip.
Yeah.
No, my truck's good enough, right?
Traffic out of Austin is horrible.
It is possible, that could be an issue, but we have no choice on the date for the meeting. We have a lot of people attending this meeting, and it concerns LWR. A lot of attorneys attending this meeting.
Right.
So we have no choice.
Can't we just
So who's
reschedule the
gonna-
workshop?
I'm sorry?
Can't we just reschedule the workshop to
We
another day?
could, yes.
Maybe Tuesday, the 28th?
We could, if you're open to that,
It's
yes.
better for you guys.
Yes, we don't want y'all.
That's a lot gooder.
So that means we don't have to drive back at 95
No.
miles per hour?
Just 80.
80?
89.95.
Okay. Mary, I don't know if you heard that or not, but we're looking, oh, okay, fine, okay. Okay, we can move it back to Tuesday then, okay,
At
So
5:30.
June 28th.
At
Yeah.
5:30.
28.
okay.
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 All right, now we're gonna go to citizen comments. Citizen comments.
Wait a
are-
minute.
Why don't you do the Independence Day celebration? Why don't you announce it?
Well, I forgot that.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, the Independence Day celebration is July 2nd, and the drought is probably still on, but my understanding is it does not pertain to, and the county issued a prohibition against fireworks, but that's in unincorporated areas, is the way I read the release. We'll make sure there's no issue there, but keep in mind the drought is on, and we have to be careful with any fireworks show that we do have going on. We'll look into this in more depth, but I think it's okay. So.
Do we expect any kind of, what am I trying to say here? For people using fireworks here in the area, any?
I think we always do that. I think that's always the case. Now enforcing that is a virtual impossibility.
Well, I understand that.
But that happens every year, and we always enforce it. We're not going to get everybody. So,
No way you could.
okay.
Thank you.
I guess that's fair to
We're gonna
say.
go Citizen comments. Citizen comments are intended for the matters that are not scheduled on the agenda. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes and state your name and address for the record. Be advised that the Texas Open Meeting Act prohibits the city council from responding and discussing your comments. The law authorizes the following: make a statement of factual information, recite existing policy, advise that this subject may be placed on the agenda for a subsequent meeting.
I'd like to go first, only because I need to get to Beeville, since our Little League is playing real quick. It's playing there real quick. To your comments, I do believe that the Aransas Little League should come first in this MDD. My name is Betty Vaden. I'm the vice president with the Aransas Little League. Vicki, I do agree with you. I believe that the Aransas Little League should come first with the MDD funds. This is the 3rd time that you're going out for bids. I'm not sure when this is going to stop. I think it should stop really quick. We start again in March. This building needs to be up by March. Our kids deserve this, and they deserve it now. It's time to stop. It's time to stop with all of this. Our kids need this. They need it now. As far as the fields go, we only did the one field. It was a Band-Aid fix so that we could get started, because those fields were supposed to be redone. They were told that they were going to be redone. They did not get redone. We worked our butts off really fast to get that one field done for our boys. The girls' field did not get done. The junior field did not get done. Those fields need to be done. They need to be done good. Our girls' field has a sinkhole in it. We continue to fill it and fill it and fill it and fill it. I don't know how many times you want us to do it. These are our kids. They are our future, and they deserve that money first before a basketball field or basketball goals or whatever you want to call it. Do it for our kids. Quit worrying about a basketball goal that we, like you said, that we don't have a basketball team. Do it for our kids, like our kids that are up there right now playing. We have some boys that are playing their hearts out right now. Haven't lost yet. And we hope they're going to go to sectionals and bring home a banner this year for this town. I don't hear anybody supporting them except for us. Except for me that you see posting for the Aransas Little League. Every once in a while, I don't know who does the city things that will post my post that I post, and then you carry them on for me or whatever. Every once in a while I see that. But let's do it for our kids. Quit going out for these bids or whatever. Get it done, and get it done by March. so that we can have, if you'd like me to give you my pictures of what I just did.
Excuse me, ma'am, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, I'll give you my pictures of our rat infestation that we have. And I'll let you see what they did, just in 3 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, so I'm back. Jason Followell, 350 South Houston. I'm back because 2 weeks ago I asked to be on the agenda and I was denied. I even sent it officially to the secretary, and the secretary told me that I wasn't going to be put on the agenda because you were going to handle it in-house, my issues that I have, and I don't agree with that. So it's Fourth Amendment right violations, and every citizen in Aransas Pass should understand and know that y'all violated my Fourth Amendment rights, and that means that y'all can violate theirs too. So I came here today to reinforce that. So it's been 90 days since I officially wrote up 6 individuals who violated my Fourth Amendment rights and harassed me. I sent that to the city manager. He did nothing about it. Again, it's been over 90 days. The only thing he did do about it was trample on my Fourth Amendment rights too, and he's still sitting there, so I don't understand why. The fire chief is still employed with y'all. I don't understand why. We pay his taxes, and he doesn't care about Fourth Amendment rights. He stepped on them. He even attacked me personally in his emails that you have, and he's still working for us. I don't understand. Our freedoms are being violated here, and none of y'all seem to care about them, and I don't get it, right? So why do we have y'all here if you're unpatriotic? My thing with you guys is if you refuse to fire both the city manager sitting right there and the fire chief for their dishonorable behavior towards me, what's going to happen, guys, see, there's a lawsuit, 1983 lawsuit that I can't enforce because it's a civil violation, but I don't want to do that because we have to pay for the taxes on that, right? The other thing I can do is a petition to remove each and every one of y'all that is non-patriotic and not doing your job, and I will do that. I'll be back in 2 weeks. If I'm not on the agenda, that's what will happen. I will get a petition from real citizens out here that care about their freedoms. I need y'all to do the right thing. I don't understand why I'm still coming back here, and I don't understand why it's been 90 days since you did anything about it. By the way, your Texas Open Media Act y'all keep talking about, you can talk. There is nothing in there that prevents you from talking from citizens. Go read it. Learn how to read codes, learn how to read the law. Help us out a little better. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it, guys. We the people have spoken. Thank you. We the people. Thank you, guys. Have a good day. I'll be back in 2 weeks.
Just for the record, he didn't speak to this.
Hi, Laura Donahue, 110 Gillespie Lane. I'm here yet again today to see about getting the condition of my road put on the agenda. The potholes are just basically band-aided up with dirty rock and gravel, and it's really only in front of my house, which makes it horrible to go outside when it's dry. It's 15 miles an hour on that road. People go, I can't even tell you. I've got cameras sitting on my property. I tried to upload some video, but my cameras all crashed yesterday, so I'm kind of upset about that. But they're going anywhere between 40 to 50, 70 miles an hour down the road, and it's not just citizens, it is also city employees, it's police officers. I've called the PD numerous times. They've come out, they've patrolled for like a day, and that's about it. They did tell me that I could file a citizen's complaint, which I'm not really sure how to do yet because I haven't looked it up yet. But in order to get that road fixed and to possibly add speed bumps. I emailed everybody on the council. I emailed Streets and Drain Department. Y'all got it. Thank you. It just, honestly, I can deal with the potholes. It's the dirt that flies towards me every time I go out. I can't get dressed nice. I have to like run to my car if another car is passing. It gets in my hair, my face. It's disgusting. But I'm more concerned about the speeders because of my 4-year-old granddaughter. We like to play in the front yard, but I don't like to take her out there because I'm afraid that she's going to get away from me. She's going to get in the road and get hit. I was out checking my mail the other day. I took one step back this far from my mailbox and almost got hit by a car. So something really needs to be done about it. So I'd appreciate if you guys could put this on the agenda. At least throw some, what are they called? Like temporary speed bumps, because I know y'all get them for Shrimpery. At least toss those down the road or something to stop the speeding, and that'll shut me up for a little bit. Thanks, guys. You have a great evening. Thank you, honey. Thank you.
A little bit slower, but I'm getting there.
Donald Drummond. I live at 902 South Wright. I want to thank the street department for fixing 2 potholes on Rice Street right at the 900 block, but they missed one right in front of my driveway that needs some asphalt put in.
Give that gentleman your address.
Is your address on the 902 South Wright. Yeah, right on the corner, right in the plumb.
Anybody else?
What street did you live on?
Gillespie.
Now we're gonna go to executive session, section 5.1.087, deliberations regarding economic development negotiations related to Rockport Fulton Market Days. Section 551.071 of the Texas Open Meeting Act to meet with his attorney to seek legal advice on a matter in which the duty of the attorney to the city council under the Texas disciplinary rules of professional conduct of the State Bar of Texas clearly conflicts with the Texas Open Meeting Act relating to clause number 22-0132, City of Aransas Pass, Texas versus Rockport Terminal LLC in the 36th Judicial District Court of Aransas County, Texas, in Com Brown Harbor Lease, Redfish Bay Boathouse, and it is 6:36. executive session
To take action.
to take action, if any, on any item discussed.
No action to be taken. I make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.